Hello everyone, it's Dragana from Saacibo. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. In one of my previous videos where I've shown you how to dye digital papers or printables, I've shown you a glimpse of my new journal. This journal is Ocean Theme Journal, and I've shown you the cover, and a few of you have asked me if I have a video on how to make a journal cover like that. Now this is something that I've done in my own time, and I didn't record the video, but I thought I'll make another one today and I'll show you how to do it. It's not going to be the same, but it's going to be the same technique basically. And the way I made this cover is I created fabric collage on the fabric, of course. For the structure, you know, I did not use cardstock or cardboard. I used paper bags, brown paper bags. Then for this here, I used this sort of paper, deli paper, that I scrunched up and I inked it and put that all the way around. And here we have a reinforced spine with eyelets and elastic binding, and I've added 2 pockets, fabric pockets. I had these cords and I decided to use them as the closure. So today I'm going to show you how to make a cover like this. It's quite similar to my nature journal. I've done that last year in a video, so it's very similar, but I'll show you anyway. And for the fabric collage, I thought I might as well show you how I stitch everything together, because you might not be sure how to go about it, so I'm going to do that. And this is what I plan to do. At the end of that other video that I mentioned earlier, and I will leave the link in the description box below, I've shown you how I've dyed this fabric, okay, with those inks and coffee and whatever. And I came up with this idea. I basically just placed everything down. Nothing is stitched, okay? So it's just a piece of fabric. I put the lace here, I put some cheesecloth there, and I've arranged these crochet pieces that look like fish. This is how I want my cover to look. That's going to be the front, that's going to be on the back. Now you may wonder, how do I attach this to the fabric? Of course you can glue things down. You can glue all of these with fabric glue and it will probably stay. But for me, fabric collage is not just about gluing. I like to do the sewing, and I don't just sew things just so they're attached. I like to treat the sewing part or the stitches as you would treat a drawing. I could probably just go in and stitch this here and hide that stitch, but I don't want to hide it. I want to make it stand out, make it be part of the design. I'll just show you in this example here. It's probably a bit hard to see because the thread is the similar color to this. I didn't stitch this like that. I went here and back and here and back, and I made that part of the design. It's hard to see in the camera. It's more obvious in real life, but perhaps here I will use a different type of thread so that you can see that better. Okay, and yeah, it does involve machine sewing. Of course you can do this by hand, but it will take a lot longer, and I prefer to do this on my sewing machine. So when you have a project like this, you probably think, where am I going to start? Okay, so you have to either take a photo with your phone because you don't want to forget where things are going. And in this case, I'm using my phone to film this video, so I'm going to have to take a mental picture. I'm going to have to take a picture with my mind and remember where everything is, because you can't take it to a sewing machine like that. This is the idea, and the final result, it might not be the same. So I'm going to take off layer by layer and I put everything aside. Okay, so I will take these off, and I have to take the cheesecloth as well. Put that aside. Now, as you can see with the fish, just so I don't forget, I have 2 in the background, 1 in the foreground. So that's how I'm going to place them here so I don't forget. And then I have this here, so this is going to be in the middle where that flower is. That's my kind of looks like a jellyfish, doesn't it? Okay, so I come to this part. This piece of crochet lace is greener on one side and more pink on this side, and although this would be the right way up, I prefer this color. I have to find the middle first. Okay, and I'll put a little mark with my pencil, just so I know where the middle is, so that you can make your design properly. Once you decide where the main piece is going to go, you need to attach this and, you know, place a few pins. Make sure it doesn't move, because chances are when you take it to your sewing machine, it is going to move. If you were just to do it like this, you know, without the pins, just a few pins. And I will go across these here and like that, just to create like an extension of this. All right, this reminds me of some seashells, so I just want to continue that, and I want to keep it free, relaxed in a way. We'll just do this step by step, and the first step for me is to do this. So let's go over to my sewing machine. It took me a while to set up the camera properly, so at the moment the camera and the stand is right in front of me. I hope I'll be able to do the sewing, because the sewing machine is kind of far away from me, but I just wanted you to see this properly. The way I like to start with something like this is from the center. That is because if I was to start from one end, by the time I get to the other end, everything would have moved and not sit properly. My stitch length is set to 3. I put the needle in the middle position on my sewing machine. 3 is the middle position. And I've selected here number 2, which is straight stitch. I'm going to be doing just straight stitch today. And here we go. Now when I get to this part, I have to stop and turn. All right, so now I want to do this end here. Take this one out. Okay, so now that that is a little bit more secure, you see what I mean? Have this sort of design, and I want to do the same here and here. So now that I have those two secured, I can do this part in the middle. As you can see, I'm treating this as a freestyle drawing. Let's just go over to this end now. now it's the matter of just attaching this. And then I'm going to go straight down here. And do a couple in between. That side is done. Now I have to do this one. Okay, so that part is done. Let's see what we're gonna do next. All right, now we've attached this. I just want to trim these threads. I'm going to trim because that's a bit too much on this side. Okay, just like that. Now I think I want to now attach these fish. As you can see, when I dyed this fabric, I placed these on top, and I might as well just put them there. And I think the idea was for this to just go loosely over, but first I have to attach the fish. Okay, and this one as well. Just pin this. So it doesn't move. Now I'm not going to do this one now, because if you remember at the beginning I had this over, and I want some of these to be behind because I want this one to look as if it's at the front. So I have to attach these, and then these, and then that. Okay, and I might as well take this with me, because once I attach the fish, I will want to attach these. This is now done, and that's what it looks like on this side. So I'm going to do the same with the other fish. I've attached this fish and some of these that are going behind. Now I want to show you how I attach these elements. They are stitched here, you've seen that. But these longer bits, I like to just throw, so they look random, whatever they want. So I will just start from the middle one. Do the same here, and there's one I think on this side that I have to do as well. All right, here we go. I've attached this as random as I could. Okay, so now it's this part, and let's just test this. Okay, I'll just fold it like this in half. Just easier to see. Okay, and I want to have this cheesecloth there. Something like this. I want to put this lace and that, and I was thinking of adding this one as well, but kind of making it go over and under, something like that. You have a choice here. You can attach the cheesecloth first and then this, or you can go and do it all at the same time. I think I'm going to go just once with everything as it is, and the way I'm going to do it is probably I'll just try and do the straight one to catch everything with the first stitch, and then I'll just do a bit of a wave, you know, so that I catch a little bit of this and this on that side. All right, so I'll just pin this first. So the next step would be to prepare the skeleton of this journal. As I said at the beginning, I've used just brown paper bag like this. Okay, now I have to prepare it. I have to open it up, and with the other one, I managed to fold it in 3, so there were 3 layers. But I find it a little bit flimsy. Okay, I wish I had put 4th layer. 3, in my opinion, for a larger journal like this probably isn't enough, unless you really want a squishy soft-cover journal. First, I have to take apart this bag. I have 4 layers of paper here. Now I have to glue them down, and I'm just going to use a plain glue stick. Let's compare this to that. Definitely is thicker. Now you can go as thick as you like. You can actually join 2 bags together to have it really firm. But I think in my case, 4 layers should be enough. I don't want the hardcover journal, but I don't want it to be flimsy either. So I think 4 layers is just enough. Now I have to trim this, and I like to have this edge over the cover, like in this case. Okay, and this also, you probably noticed, it is a little bit now out of shape because, of course, because we did a lot of stitching. So that's why. Okay, but I'll take the measurements. This is now approximately, I'll take actually here. Yeah. About 16 inches. And here it's 11.5. Yeah, so about 16 inches this way and 11.5. So cut that and then I will be back. Okay, let's test it. Okay. Need to trim a little bit more. This way also, just a tiny bit. I think that is all right now. Like that. Cool. Now we have to decide what sort of papers we want here. And in this case, I used just deli paper that I scrunched up and I glued it over this, and I just added a little bit of ink. I had the paper that was already stained from previous dyeing, so I think I'm gonna do the same with this one. I have this paper, which is the same as that deli paper. It was scrunched up and I used some ink on it. So the way I do this is I pick the paper that I want for the inside and I basically glue it down onto this immediately. Okay, so I'll just apply the glue. So I do the paper first and then the fabric. Okay, just the reverse than the usual, you know. Usually we do the fabric around and then you tidy up the ends with the paper. This way is different because we are leaving these raw edges around. So we don't have to fold the fabric, we just fold the paper. Okay, I'm just adding a decent amount of glue here. Leave that scrunched up on purpose. Okay, and now you just fold over these edges. It here as well. To fold this one like that, and then this one too, glue, okay, now here. This paper is thin, it's kind of easy to fold and get nice crisp edges. So that's going to be on the inside. Now it's up to you if you want to protect the paper with varnish. Like here, I added a layer of varnish because I wanted it to look like shiny, almost like leather. I used this one, acrylic varnish matte. That's how I did it. I just spread this directly. Now, if you wanted to, you could use just the regular white glue instead of glue stick, you know, apply it like you would apply a napkin, and in that case you wouldn't have to use the varnish. Okay, so the glue would act as a varnish, or even, you know, you can just do the glue on top. If you don't have any varnish, just do the glue. Do a layer of glue, and that is going to protect it. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we can continue the work. Alright, this is now dry and looks okay. I can continue work. Sometimes I add a little bit of interest with just ink, but it's quite busy, so I'm not gonna bother with ink. I want to actually try adding some of this silver gilding wax. I'm thinking it might actually look good. Yeah, it does. So I'm gonna add this just with my fingers, especially here where these pink areas are. It's going to make them less bright, but also the silver will stand out a bit better against the darker background. So I'm just going to do this to the whole area, and also around the edges. Instead of inking, I'll just do that. Alright. I think that looks much better now. Okay, now I have to put reinforcement for the spine, like this. I usually just get some recycled packaging, whatever, cut a strip, and I decide how thick I want the spine. And then I have to find the middle. So here I have, this is the middle. That's the middle. Then I do this, and there. And this spine is going to be 4.5 centimeters or 1 3/4 inch, so I can fit 3 signatures. All right, and then I take a piece of fabric. I think I want to use this fabric. Okay, and I'm going to put the fabric on this side because I don't want this to show through, just in case, you know. So I'm just adding a little bit of glue stick. And just going to do that. Put that aside for a second. Now here I have to glue the rest. So I'll do this. I'm using acetone-based glue because it dries fast, but it smells bad. But you can use any fabric glue that you have. It doesn't have to be this one. You can also use white glue, but it might take a bit longer to dry. Okay, now here I want to make sure that there's enough, but not too much. Do this. don't want too much bulk. That's all right. And I'll do the same on this side. Okay, so that is going to be our spine reinforcement, and I know that it has to fit in between here and here. Okay, I will glue that down. Later on I will stitch it together on the sewing machine, but for now I'll just glue it down. Okay, so that is going to be the spine. Now I want to have some pockets, fabric pockets like I have here. And I have some of that same material or same fabric that I used here. And I'm thinking maybe that would be interesting. I'll actually get rid of this here. This used to be a coffee bag of some sort. Okay, and how wide should I go? Maybe like I have here. Okay, and then would that be enough for two? Yeah. That's going to be my pockets, because you need to if you're gonna sew the pockets, you have to do it now before you add the fabric to the other side, because we have that fabric collage on the other side, so we don't want that there. And then I want to use this same lace that I used here, so I'm going to cut it right here. Okay, I'm going to cut it. And that's what I did. Place that there, and I stitched on the sewing machine. The same on this side. Okay. And over here I stamped some words. I think it would look good. So, taking my stamping platform, I have this one there. It's gonna be alright. Okay. the sewing machine and do that. Just do it once more. Good. Okay, I think this to cover. So I'm going to actually shorten this a little bit. Like that. Do the same here. Now, all I have to do is go to my sewing machine, fold this here, and then do a straight stitch. And after I do that, then I can attach this to the inside of the cover. Okay, that's our pockets. I think they're looking really good. It's that there and that one there. Now for this side, I like to add some of this. This is called carpet underlay. That's what it looks like. It says here with the English, fleece anti-slip carpet stopper for all floors. It's quite affordable and it's perfect for this because it is a little bit sticky, but it's not like it glues down completely. It's just sticky enough. Okay, and I cut it just a little bit smaller than the actual cover, about 2 millimeters in from all ends, and that will give me nice kind of nice feel to the cover. Okay, I mean, you don't have to do it if your fabric is really thick, but this fabric isn't really thick. Okay, so I think I need to add some of that to make it look nicer. All right, and then you can use ordinary fleece, or you can, you know, use some old, perhaps sweaters or old t-shirts that you just add a little bit of bulk, and it's nice and soft later on. And then I place my collage or cover, and I have to make sure that is kind of placed in a way that there's equal distance from the edges on all 4 sides. Okay, and once I'm happy with the placement, I just take some of the clips and then just to hold it like that. Okay, in the corners and here. So I don't add any glue at this stage. I just want to, sometimes you have to kind of stretch the fabric a little bit, because from the sewing it tends to kind of curl up a little bit. So you just stretch it. And there's this one and one more here. Okay, and you make sure that this fleece thing doesn't show up, like in my case here, this part is showing up. Okay, that's why we cut it a little bit smaller. Alright, so now I take this to my sewing machine and I do a straight stitch from this side. If you were to do it from that side, the stitches that would show here wouldn't look so nice. They would look fuzzy. You know how the needle, when it goes through the paper, it looks kind of not so good on the other side, but the fabric is self-healing, so it's all right. So I suggest always stitch from this side, and it will look all right on that side as well. And while I'm doing that, I'll just go around, just straight stitch, just like I did here. And when I finish that, I will do straight stitch where the spine reinforcement is, so here. Okay, so that is it. Now one more thing, and I nearly forgot. If you want to have the closures, this is when you add them. Okay, so I have some of this. Okay, and I will just cut it in half. Now find the middle here, just put a little mark. I'm going to use these, so I'm going to open this up because it's kind of really thick, so like that, so that it can go through my sewing machine. And I'm going to put it here like this. Okay, so it doesn't move. Okay. And same on this end. Just open this up a little bit. You can have anything you want for the closure, or you don't have to have it at all, but I like to have something. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my sewing machine, stitch this all up, and then I'll be back. That is it. I think it is all right. As you can see, my stitching is not perfect, but that's all right. I don't aim for perfection. It's quite a few layers of fabric and paper, and sometimes the sewing machine will struggle. You have to keep pushing through, and it might skip a few stitches, but that's totally all right. This is junk journal. Let's see if I bend this here now, and that there, just like that, and this one here. I love it. It's very nice. Now we have to decide if we want to do the regular binding or this type of binding. And I was thinking, I've shown you this in one of the videos last year, but I might as well show you again. Yeah, in case you haven't seen it. Okay, so I will have to find the middle first. Okay, and decide where I want these eyelets. Okay, so that is about 1.5 centimeters. Just put a dot, then I make sure that is in the middle. Okay, right, and then I will put it 1.5 centimeters away, something like that. So I want my eyelets here, the same. Okay. Now, if you don't have a crocodile, you can attempt to make a hole with just a awl or poking tool, or with one of those tools that you need to use with a hammer, but I'm going to use my crocodile. I don't use it that often, so I might as well use it because I bought it. Okay, this is going to be hard for you to see, so I'm sorry. Okay, make a perfect hole. Even my crocodile struggled to push through all these layers. I'm going to put these eyelets, I'm not sure, I think they're 5 or 6 millimeters. It should be enough. Let's just see here. And I'm going to use this tool to set them. thick because of the laces that I put. They look alright. Let's see on this side. Yeah, that's alright. Alright, so I think that looks alright. Looks neat, doesn't it? You can always go in with a hammer and, you know, squash it down a little bit. But I think it worked alright. Let's glue the flower. I'm just using hot glue. I'm calling it the flower, but it's not the flower. It's meant to be like jellyfish. So I'm just going to add a few drops. And then for this one, I'll just okay, and the button. Looks like a jellyfish, that's why I picked it. Maybe I'll make it a little bit silver with this gilding wax. Yeah. And now it fits perfectly, doesn't it? Cool. Almost like fish scales. There's just one more thing left to do, and that is to put the elastic through. Oh, I love it. It's quite big, isn't it? I can fit larger papers inside as well. Let's find some elastic. This is not enough. Just check. It should be 5. All right, it should be enough. And I also need a bead like this one. This is a handmade paper bead. It has to have a big enough opening. Those. I think I have some more somewhere. Oh, I think I want to use that one. Now that I've seen it, there's that one as well. But I think this green one would look good. I need to burn one end to stop it from being fuzzy. Okay, we'll go through it much easier. And just go here. Okay, and then I put it through this bead. And then I go into the second hole. To be burnt as well. Okay, now this goes in here, and it should go through the bead again. And each time you do this, it gets a little bit harder it's time for me to reach for my favorite tool to do this, and that's the crochet hook. It's a fine one. I don't use it for crochet, I use it for this. Okay. Did it, and then through the third hole. Oops, make sure you don't lose that. Okay, now this is going to be hard. Getting it through here. Surprisingly, it went all right. Okay, now we have to make a knot here, but before we do that, just push this to the side. We have to make sure the tension is right. And the good thing about this binding is that you can always adjust the tension. If it gets loose in time, you can always tighten it. Okay, so that is enough. So, going to make a knot here. There. And then you just adjust so it's the same, and you hide this knot inside of the bead if possible. Just push it in gently, and then it's up to you what you do with these ends. I sometimes like to do this. You can add more beads if you like. Yeah. Just do a knot. Move that up, you can move it in the middle. I like it about there. And if that's too long, you can cut it, and just don't forget to melt the ends. And that is it, that's the cover. Wow, so much work, but it was definitely worth it. I love this here. My jellyfish, look at it. I love the cover. It's really cool, look at that there, but that's all right. It's a junk journal. It shouldn't be perfect. And here I'm going to either add some buttons or some charms, maybe attach something, or I'll just, yeah, I didn't do anything. You can attach things there. So I left it like that. And that's the other one that I've done. And you see how this is much firmer than that. You can see it's holding its shape better, and we used one extra layer of that shopping bag paper, and it made a big difference. Yeah, it's still almost like a soft cover journal, but yeah, something in between. And then, you know, you work on your signatures, you bind them separately, and then you just slide them inside. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Hope it gave you some inspiration. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you soon in my next video. Bye for now.